Dusk Till Dawn is the new set for Flesh and Blood that's coming out really soon, man. It's coming out in early July 2023, and I want to give my first impressions of what I think of this set. You know, without the cards being revealed yet and us knowing the whole set and opening the cards, I just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions and my takes and what have you of the set that's coming out. And first thing I want to remind everyone, man, is I'm a big proponent recently of buying singles, right? Opening booster boxes is fun, but I've been hurt a couple times in the past. So honestly, buying singles and set collecting has been a lot of fun for me recently. I've been doing that a lot with the previous sets of Flesh and Blood. Wait for the hype train to move on, and after 2 months of crickets and people thinking of the new set, right? Look at the old set, look at the old cards. So I want to definitely plug that in the beginning. And a great place to buy Flesh and Blood cards is the Haven Games store, link down below. Really cool guys in my local area to buy cards from. Now, Dusk Till Dawn. What is there to say, really? The artwork looks really badass. I really like how on the logo of Dusk Till Dawn, let me see if I can bring it up here. It shows kind of like the sun, and it shows really an eclipse here, and you can see the sun is like either sunrise or sunset. It's like a really good depiction of dusk and dawn type of thing, like in the middle, right? And I really like the whole theme of it. If you look at Monarch, right? Monarch back in the day was such a brilliant set. I think that was a pinnacle moment for Flesh and Blood where they really needed to deliver, and they delivered hard. The artwork was just up a notch. The mechanics, everything that built into that set was next level, and I think that this is going to be a very similar set, right? Now, one thing I want to note is that it's a supplemental set, and honestly, I have this weird feeling with supplemental sets. I like how they give a lot of things that spice up the meta, right? And they give a bunch of different things for a bunch of different classes. That's cool. I get that. But I really want to have a draftable experience. I really want to have that type of sealed gameplay when you're playing, at the pre-release events, right? And I think that a really interesting idea, right, with the draftable events is, what if you had a thing where when a new supplemental set comes out in Flesh and Blood, you mix 3 packs of that supplemental set with three packs of another one. Like, for instance, Monarch. You could have 3 Monarch packs and then 3 Dusk Till Dawn packs, and then put them together, and that is your sealed event for pre-release weekend and other tournaments and what have you. And I know that might sound strange, and I don't know the maths and everything. I know sealed you could definitely do it because you're just one person opening 6 packs and you can do whatever the hell you want. But I don't know how, if the math really works with the draft, with the number of cards and the number of people in the pods. It probably doesn't work out great, but I think it really is not. I think it could work. I think if Legend Story Studios tries to do the maths and looks at it, how many packs you could put in there, I think that would be a great way to get rid of older product, right, from the local game stores, and utilizing a new product, and you really get this new interactions, right? You'd have new cards with Dusk Till Dawn mixing with the Monarch cards, and they're both synergized around light and shadow, right? So I think that you can really fuse those together. Whereas if you take I don't know, Tales of Aria and put Dusk Till Dawn that probably doesn't meld good with the whole elements and everything and light and shadow, right? But I think that if you do kind type of sets and merging together, and you definitely do sealed, and I think there's a draftable option there. I think the math might not work out very well to where you open one pack that I think Dusk Till Dawn has 10 cards per pack. One might be a token or whatever. So it might not go all the way around, or it might go all the way around and then one. But ultimately, I think everyone will get the same amount of cards, and it would be a very interesting take. So that's my take on that. Long story short, I think supplemental products for Flesh and Blood should be tried to gear towards draft in some way, shape, or form. I think you could do that by mixing the packs of core sets and supplemental, a 3 and 3, and do it around. I think you could do something there. Um, One thing I really have to give Legend Story Studios credit for, though, is the video that came out recently with the whole, previewing this new set, Dusk Till Dawn. It was really well done. I mean, it was just the visuals, and it showed the card art, moving with everything else. It was very well done, very well produced. I think it's more those types of video content of cartoonish type, not cartoonish, it's more like animated stuff that's going to draw people in. I like that. I want more of that. I think that was really good. Now, the sketch cards. Ooh. Personally, I don't like sketch cards. I just think it's kind of weird, Now, the Marvels, I like. I like the dragons. I like the armor and equipment, like that Marvels with the weapons. It looks really damn good, and I think it's very special to Flesh and Blood. I think that having that cold foil esque nature with the full art, it's very unique. Now sketch cards, it has to be done very elegantly, and I haven't seen a sketch card from Legend Story Studios. My opinion may change, but personally, I'm kind of iffy about bringing sketch cards in Flesh and Blood. It just seems kind of like I don't really like them as much personally. But honestly, overall, I'm a collector, and there's a lot of collectors out there, and there's a lot of collectors who may like the sketch cards, and it's good they're adding to them. And if I don't want to collect it, I don't have to put my money into it. So it's no big deal as long as they don't, put some other IP in Flesh and Blood. We're all good here. But the sketch card thing, I'm on the fence. Don't know how that's going to really materialize in the game. But one thing I like is that it seems like Legend Story Studios is always trying to give us a little bit more, right? Is that they're looking and they want to provide more types of collectibles in the realm, right? And give us something new, I imagine, right? You can see them really tinkering with the collectability over the last year or so, and trying to really push that envelope of crafting a bigger specimen, if you will. I feel like they've tried to do that multiple times, and you can definitely see with the Marvels, right? They've been tinkering with that and the rarities and such. But yeah, overall, I'm skeptical of how it's going to turn out. I hope it's very elegant, and I guess we'll see. I'm personally not a big fan. But yeah, I guess it does make sense for the 10th milestone having something really unique. It'll be very interesting to see what they craft. I'll tell you that. Another thing is the non-English booster boxes of this set, right? So in the last set, non-English booster boxes were produced for a core set of Flesh and Blood, which is the first time ever, right? And something really big is I still don't know how popular and how well those sold. It'd be very interesting to see that sales data. But overall, I think that that's a very big way that Flesh and Blood can get more market share out there, is because if it's translated into different languages, more people are going to adopt it, you would think. Now, something I did learn on the Salty Whale Discord, and I forgot who said it, so I always like to give credit where credit is due, but a very astute gentleman, I believe, said that certain countries of origin adopt their language of the booster box better than others. So, for instance, apparently I heard Germany usually likes the English cards. They don't really like as much the German cards, if you're thinking big picture. But then a couple other places, like I believe Italy and France, they prefer more of the French and Italian cards over the English cards. And I don't know the math and the whole statistics and everything over that, but that's something very key to note, is that there's a cultural thing where English cards are more acceptable, in certain countries in Europe, and then other cases where English cards aren't as popular and they like the native languages. It's a very interesting concept, and I think we'll definitely see it materialize in the print runs going forward. Because if Legend Story Studios is seeing, oh well, you know, German boxes are not selling as well. Well, maybe we won't print as many German boxes. Same with France and and Italian. Like maybe they'll scale up, scale down based off of the sales volume, depending on how much it's adopted in such countries. So that type of dynamic is very interesting to me. I think it's impossible for us to really know the full scale and the whole numbers behind it, but I think it's pertinent for anyone who's analyzing the TCG realm of Flesh and Blood to understand that that really exists. Um, Now, I think I've really talked a lot about Dust Till Dawn, a couple different topics. I mean, the big thing is the lore. If you're sticking around this long, the lore is this is a big moment for Flesh and Blood. Like if you look at Monarch, that was a big point where you learned that Solana was getting destroyed, right? So in the history of things, from Welcome to Wrath to Monarch, Welcome to Wrath, Arcane Rising crew was just setting up the stage of, hey, this is where we are, this is Wraith and everything. Oh, there's shit that's going down, and it's a build up. And then Monarch was the war. It was like getting into the war. Now, you went to the Tales of Aria and Volcor, and, you go to the pits, and it's a very interesting woven story, and we don't know what time period things happen. Like, with Monarch, was that, like, present day? And then, after Monarch, you went, like, maybe 3 years back in time, or maybe a year back in time, and then you went to Tales of Aria to, introduce the Oldhim and Lexi and Briar, and then they come in like a year later, and then Dust Till Dawn is current. So essentially what I'm saying is, like, if you look at the whole timeline, right, is Dust Till Dawn and Monarch like the same type of, like, current day? And essentially Tales of Aria through the Volcor thing and in the pits, Outsiders, right? That was like happening before this set. The chronology is very interesting, but the key to it really is the Dust Till Dawn is like the big moment where the forces of the Shadow Realm or whatever are coming through the dimensional gates and wreaking havoc. And I during the Monarch spoiler season, I did Rally the Rear Guard, and I love that card because I had so much things to say about it. Because I said, hey, if the rear guard has to be taken in, then shit is gotten real bad because the rear guard is just like old people and like people who don't have much military experience, but they need to be put in the fray because you know things are looking really bleak, and we've known that for a very long time, and it feels like Legend Story Studios is slow rolling the shit out of us with the lore and the progression of the story. Really, not much has happened. Really, we've been introduced to these like different regions and everything, and the different heroes of Wraith. But like the progression of the storyline and the plot and who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, it's very convoluted at this point. But we have a silhouette, and it's a very beautiful silhouette, and it's going to be really good when we finally get that progression where we understand more of the storyline in its entirety, right? And I think that's what Dust Till Dawn is going to hopefully shed some light on. I'm really looking forward to that, man, because yeah, it's been a while. That and another lore book, that would be really nice. But overall, man, it's looking like a really really badass set, and I just am so proud of Legend Story Studios and just everything that they've put their heart and souls into. I mean, we're coming up to 4 years, I believe. What is it, in October of them? Yeah, 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. oh geez, is this 5 years? Man, it's been a long time. They've just kept pumping out great products year after year, and it's great seeing everything that they're doing and being part of the community and seeing it with y'all. So I don't want to ramble on too much. One thing I do want to say at the end is I do have a preview card. I'm going to be talking about it on June 30th. I'm going to make a video and everything and preview it. And yeah, you don't even have to ask. It breaks the meta really hard. Out of the 4,280 cards of Flesh and Blood, this one is meta breaking, and it's completely overpowered. So look forward to showing it off then. And I really appreciate Legends Story Studios for giving me the opportunity to do that. It's always fun to preview a card for Flesh and Blood and being a part of that whole situation and being a part of the whole thing. So thank you, and thanks for watching. I know this was a longer video of me just rambling on about different stuff, but if I can ramble on a little bit more, I do think that the biggest take in here, man, is the supplemental products for Flesh and Blood. I really want to see somehow you put that into a sealed or draft experience. I think that when you do that, when you put it into a draftable experience, it's gonna be really cool when you mix booster packs from different sets. Not only will it give the pro players or people who have the big brains like just some more math and type of thing to work through, it's also gonna just you'll spice it up, and it's gonna be able to sell older product, right? Older product is going to be able to sell through in the stores because you need it for certain draftable events that you're holding for Flesh and Blood, and you can do it with the old product. And it's kind of like a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. It's like everybody's wanting the new set. It's like, okay, but take some old product too. That's the way I see it. And it really just breathes new breathes new life into the older product, because when you mix it with the newer product, maybe you have different synergies, and that's the coolest thing about draft experiences, that you see these different synergies of cards that you'd never think of before. And I think when you add older sets to newer ones, right, and you combine that, you're going to see even more synergies that you wouldn't even thought of before. And I think that that's really beautiful. And again, you can't do it with I don't know, Outsiders and Dusk Till Dawn. You can't do it with Tales of Aria and Arcane Rise. Oh, maybe you could do that. But some combinations won't mix because you don't have the certain talents or whatever. It's going to be harder, right? It's not going to be a good mix. The viscosity of the deck building isn't going to be very even there. You need to do it with kind decks. So I think that Monarch and Dusk Till Dawn putting together, draft experience, ooh, that's beautiful. But anyway, that's basically my biggest hot take with this whole video. But other than that, really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the new set. Again, all I've seen is what you've got seen with the product sheet and all the cards in there, or the layout of what they're doing. I haven't really seen anything more at this point. It's just a preview video, so I'm really excited to see what they do. So cheers, man. Have a good one.